seems to work. Hello? Sound? Sound. Okay. Let's do some setup. Should be live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Flux Panda, live on the player, live everywhere. I'm just checking. Oh, seems that it's working. Here's the incoming everything. Cool. All right, perfect. Yeah, since my machine here is struggling slightly, let's see how this goes. And do it's going to warm up, and a couple more things here. Going to have a demo on Flux Panda and how to use Flux Panda for your live selling events. And essentially, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm selling live. Fantastic. So I'm going to sell a live selling solution live, so that you can then use the live selling solution to sell your stuff live. But before we go there, see if we can get some people in. So we're now live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram. No, not Instagram. What's the other thing? YouTube. No, I didn't connect Instagram. I was testing Instagram earlier. But yeah, so we now have our live selling solution connected. I'm just gonna write a quick post and slowly gonna get into the demo. You can join the live on fluxpanda.com. There is on the homepage a button now that says the live is on. You can click that to load the Flux Panda player. And you can ask questions. I'm going to go through the demo as I usually do, but you can ask any specific questions that you have, and then we can divert and go into the details. I'm just going to post this. And there we go. Let's see. So this is a freestyle live demo of the live selling software. So Flux Panda essentially, it's like a SaaS, a software solution that allows you to host live selling events. Pretty much what we're doing right now. But the funny thing is this: I mean, we didn't intend to really have this for this use case of like selling a SaaS solution, but while we've been working away, we kind of realized, wait a minute, that works. We're giving quite a lot of demos every day. And after you do the same demo for the sixth time, it's hard work in the SaaS world. So we're thinking, we could actually do this using a live selling event and club some people together, have live demos at a certain time. And that's kind of like what we're testing today. This is our first attempt to use Flux Panda for live selling SaaS solutions. Now, but what it's really for, it's like for, not what it's really for, but like what its main use case right now is live selling for e-commerce, right? So our player integrates into e-commerce platforms. So you can have like a Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and any other platform that you like that supports adding some JavaScript onto it. And essentially it equips your e-commerce website with live selling capabilities, which is essentially live streaming one-to-many. We support, I don't know, up to like 1 million people that can connect in low latency real time, up to half a second latency. And we can also have one-on-one sessions, which is essentially like having people joining in the session, co-hosts, or having a private, one-on-one live selling event. So imagine you have an e-commerce store, someone is browsing a product, and you want to connect them to like a sales agent to get more details. Or you build a funnel, right? So you do like a live event for like one-to-many, you have a couple of hundred people in there, and then you start taking people out and have them like speaking to individuals. You can do anything from like clinics, workshops, product drops, Q&A sessions, product demos, makeup sessions, you name it, right? Anything is possible. But I think there are a couple of important things about live selling, which still a lot of brands, e-commerce merchants, like small business, everyone is trying to figure out like how do I use this actually to generate more sales. And the reality is that like it's not so. It is a marketing tool in the process of selling. This is how I would look at it. And to give you an example on like what that really means in the real world is like. There are different use cases, right? So, like, I mean, one use case is a luxury brand that we're working with, and their problem is actually very different than what you would expect, right? So they're selling like very expensive items, and they have them in, unique pieces, so to say. And what's their problem actually is that, like, when they would present or use those unique pieces, to actually show what they have in terms of product, they don't want to like have people to buy all those products in one go. They want to like have one sold after the other during like a live show, um, and kind of like use the product to do the marketing itself, and that's one of the use cases, right? So like a very specific problem to solve is like, how can I present like a very unique product to as many people as possible, at the same time sell it, but like not sell everyone in the first minute, because then I have nothing to do anymore. It's not a bad problem, right? But you kind of like want to build some brand with the live selling. Then you have other use cases where it's more about like, like moving stock, getting rid of products, where it's about promotions, where it's about like, instinct, quick buying, like reactive buying and so forth. We have people that sell real estate. Um, yeah, so you name it. Everything is being sold on the live selling, phenomena that is starting right now. And now, why is that, right? It is really, if you think about the closest way on how you can bridge the gap between like e-commerce and the physical selling that we have, right? Because either before you go into a retail store and you look at products, and speak with someone, touch the product, or you go into an e-commerce website and you look at reviews, pictures, maybe videos, and maybe you can chat to someone, whatever that helps with. But now you can actually experience the product and the seller in real time, right? So this is actually like one of the main things that you can do here. You can bridge the gap between the physical retail as we know it and the e-commerce world. So that's how I would look at live selling in one way. And the other way I would probably look at it is as a tool to create proof about products. So like how authenticity, demonstrating the product itself, actually, being able to see maybe, as mentioned, like a unique piece. So thinking again about like unique items in the luxury segment, or like like I don't know, refurbished phones, refurbished equipment, used cars. Who knows, right? So stuff that you just gotta see before you purchase it. It's about building relationships, because there is actually person interacting with it. It's about entertainment, which means having games. We have some games built into the platform that you can use, and creating exciting content, tutorials, clinics, all that kind of stuff, as mentioned earlier. So it's not just about like hard selling, but also about engaging people, and people love to consume content. So one of the questions that we get less asked, but like we got asked it a lot, is why would I use a solution like Flux Panda rather than going live on like a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I mean, right now we're actually restreaming to YouTube and Facebook, which means that this live is actually broadcasted on multiple platforms. We also have a little widget, a player, that we share, on social media. And the other way you can access it is like, on our website, using our website widget. Now, all these places, the live happens at the same time, and people can join in, they can watch. And what they can do, specifically on the player itself, is like the additional engagement tools that I'm going to show you, right? So we have our chat, we have our lucky draw, we have our countdown deals, we have coupons, that you can issue. People can join the call. You can have like guests joining in, like a co-host or like an audience call. You can do like whatever, quizzes, competitions, you name it. And of course, the most important thing, you can purchase the products right off the video. And that's another thing where you can, as mentioned, integrate this with your own e-commerce store. So you don't have to integrate with something else, but you actually bring everything into the e-commerce. And we also have the ability to take the payments directly in the player in the event that maybe you don't have an e-commerce. That could be a possibility, or there's some other use cases around it. But yeah, most people, they want to integrate this into their e-commerce, and as mentioned, it's just a really simple integration with some JavaScript code. But we also have like an SDK and APIs where you can go wide, right? So like do a simple integration or do like a really complex integration. It's really up to you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over to our little demo store over here, and this is a Shopify store. So as mentioned, works with Shopify, works with Magento, works with WooCommerce, and we have integrations for all those major platforms. And it's very simple to build integrations for anything that we don't have, because as mentioned, it's just some JavaScript that you need to put onto the page. Now, the way it works once it's integrated into an e-commerce website is that, first of all, you can transfer the items that people want to purchase directly into your e-commerce shopping cart. People can continue watching the video while they browse your website, while they check out. So it's like uninterrupted, so they don't lose the feed. And also people that watch it on other platforms, like, if it's like embedded in an Instagram story, or you put it into like, your WhatsApp Telegram group, or you like whatever, link to it directly from your email blast, or like now we are restreaming on like Facebook, YouTube, and so forth. You have a link there, so they can join the live, they can consume that content, they can add stuff into the shopping cart, and they can do the purchase. Now, what you
sort
see
of fit,
here now,
and I don't feel too tight.
What? Mute those guys. Is the video and how it looks when it's minimized. As mentioned, like people or your customers, they can continue browsing the site, right? So it's uninterrupted. It doesn't break the video while they're like looking around and stuff. But most importantly, you want them to watch the live content. And while this content can be live, it can also be a video. Just want to mention that. So this is not live, of course. This is like a like a replay. But then once you imagine that this is live, people can chat, can ask questions, and that's like a super important tool of the live selling, because obviously the chat helps you to interact with people, to answer questions, to engage them, to ask them to ask questions, like they can speak with each other, and we have all the tools built in to moderate that, and make the chat fun, which is quite an important aspect of the live selling. And I think that's, just want to emphasize on this, because like still a lot of brands or e-commerce operators that move into live selling, they see it really as like a one-way communication, like a marketing thing, like I'm going live, I'm presenting. But it is really about having this two-way interaction, because that's the whole point, right? So that's why it's live and why it's real time. So sure, good to have a program, right? But there needs to be some flexibility in there in order to react and deal with comments and so forth. So then the next thing is, like, as you can see here, we have some tools that we can use. So this is our coupon generator, we call it, for the lack of a more exciting word, but that's what it essentially does. It generates coupons. You can have fixed coupons. You can have coupons that are created using an API, which means you could literally like have coupons like personalized for like different customers if you want. So quite a flexible tool that we have there. Another thing that we have is our lucky draw. So I'm just going to launch one actually here. So in a minute, I'm going to like launch. So you can't see what I'm doing right now because I'm in our admin dashboard, which I'm going to show you also. What I did now, I launched the lucky draw. And what you can see now, not on the video, but on the actual player. So if you're on YouTube and on Facebook, you can't see this. So join us on the Flux Panda page, on the actual Flux Panda player. But there you will now see the lucky draw that popped up, right? So I'm going to move this over here so you can see it. So this little lucky draw thing is now available on the actual player. So now, what that means is, like on the YouTube restream, you get the content, but you don't get the interactive tools. So that means that at some point, you want to have people potentially moving out of YouTube and Facebook and whatever, and move into the Flux Panda player. And it's a pretty seamless, experience. There are another benefit, which is, as I mentioned, they have access to all these additional tools, like the coupons, like the lucky draws, countdown deals, products, shopping cart, all those kind of things. And there is not only a benefit for the user, there is also a benefit for you, because now you can interact with them in a more, non-anonymous way, right? Because now you can, maybe capture some information if they like, participate in request a coupon. You can like have a lead capture, those kind of things. So you get some potential leads, not only purchases. And the other thing is also that latency on our player is much faster than you would get on a YouTube or Facebook. So we have a shorter time it takes for the video to reach your customers, right? So the interaction will be a little bit more real time. That's another benefit, right? So yeah, that's one thing to kind of like plan in, that like at some point you want to take people from those external lives, into the actual player. And then the other thing that we have here is, like customers can share the video, of course. We have the shopping cart, we have some like, hearts that they can throw. You also see them on your end, and, then you know that people like it. We don't have any buttons that make them, show you that they don't like it. So that's good. And the most important part, of course, is the product. So this is the product that's currently on display. In our admin dashboard, you can simply flick through the products that you want to show. The idea is kind of like lining up some products, almost like a playlist, and then like present one after the other. Super simple. You just press a button, the next product appears, and customers can add it to the cart. That's what I'm going to do right now. So it's going to add it to the built-in shopping cart in the play. Now, why is it, and I have a lot of products here that I need to buy. So why does it add it to the built-in shopping cart? Well, there is a reason for that. And the reason is that, because as I showed you earlier, right? So like we actually going to transfer the shopping cart into your e-commerce store, whatever you're using, right? So it works with all the e-commerce stores. But the reason is because like this player right now, you look at it inside the e-commerce store. But as I mentioned earlier, the idea is that this player as a standalone link also is deployed on many other platforms, right? So whatever you have available, as mentioned, your WhatsApp group, your Telegram group, your email blast, your Instagram story, whatever, you make sure that this link gets in front of, as many people as possible. And then they're going to watch the live just in that, in that player. So they're not yet on your e-commerce store. They're just consuming this content. And what we do there is that we bring everything that they need to purchase, which is essentially the product, right, directly to them. We make them, or we enable them to like put it into the cart right there in the player. And then at some point they're going to be ready to check out. I'm going to show you first how it works on the e-commerce site. So essentially when I'm going to click on checkout over here, what we do, we minimize the whole thing. We navigate to the shopping cart, we populate it, and now they can complete the checkout, but they can continue watching. And that's that's an important aspect of this, because you don't want to have them stop purchasing because they want to also watch the content, because of course it's going to be super exciting. And the other thing that you can do, I'm going to show you this here. I'm going to load the standalone version, which is essentially the same thing. And this might take a little bit because I'm having like 50 things streaming at the same time right now. So I think my resources and bandwidth are pretty stressed out right now. But here we go, almost there. So here you can see that's the player as it looks as a standalone version, you could say. Exactly the same experience. You have the video, you have the chat, you have the coupons, you have the products. Everything is exactly the same. It's essentially the same player. And what happens now? Just waiting for this video to start. If I add the product here into my shopping cart, same thing happens. It's in the shopping cart. And now imagine this player is deployed anywhere, right? So like they're in the WhatsApp group right now, and they added the thing to the shopping cart. So when they do the checkout, what actually happens is we redirect them to your site, we populate the shopping cart, and we relaunch the live. And so you have like an almost seamless or uninterrupted experience to take them from like one channel to your e-commerce store. And that's a really important aspect of like how the whole thing functions, because we have a lot of customers, they end up just going live on the website, right? And I mean, they get the people joining, right? Because they do the respective, like promotions around it. But they could get much more, if they would use the functionalities that we provide, which is like the widget and, the restreaming and so forth. And we see definitely between those customers that use those functionalities and go live, multi-channel if you want, versus those that just go live on the site, there is a difference. What is also quite interesting is the following, right? That when you look at the traffic that you get on the live on Flux Panda, and when you compare it with those other channels that you use, right? So for example, like, you're broadcasting on a Facebook, you're broadcasting on a YouTube, and you're broadcasting on Instagram. There is almost like a doubling effect, right? I wouldn't call it like a multiplier effect, but like you can see that on the actual live widget that is, in our player, you get accordingly like more exposure, right? So, I mean, to give you one example, right? So like one live had maybe 500 people on Instagram, but then on the actual player, it ended up being 1,500, so 1,500. So that's kind of like how you can see that, like, sure, like, a social media channel always gives you exposure, but, by restreaming and, deploying the widget, you can actually multiply that effect. I think that's really important to consider. So yeah. So as mentioned, these are the two key ways on how you can use the player when you embed it or when you integrate it with your e-commerce. And as mentioned, this e-commerce integration is super simple, just in JavaScript to add. And then there is the other way, as mentioned, where you can actually take the payments using like a Stripe or PayPal directly in the player itself. So you don't need to have an e-commerce store. It's a pretty basic e-commerce engine that we've built in there, but it works to get some orders and get some sales going. So yeah, so this was our first live demo session, testing our setup, and we're gonna do more of those. We're gonna do one where we'll also go into the admin panel and gonna promote this again. See you next time. I'm not sure. So like, I'm not sure if, as I don't want to do the same demo like 100 times a day, right? So I'm not sure if you want to join the same demo 100 times. But do the following: if you have any questions, comments, feedback, do get in touch. Reach out to us, and yeah, like take a look at our website. Happy life selling, and all the best.